Hey everyone, welcome to a very special Let's Chat About Brand Live. I'm Christine Gritmon, your host. Every Tuesday at 12 noon Eastern Time, I'm right here on Twitter doing my usually text-only Twitter chat about brand, and you are welcome to participate solely as a Twitter chat if you would like. You can have two tabs going so that you can see this live interview here. Normally, my live interview show is on Fridays at 12 noon on Twitter and Facebook. And Twitter and Facebook and Periscope. In fact, I am replaying this on Friday at 12 noon Eastern. So if you are joining us on Friday, please let me know in the comments that you are a Friday viewer. And I'm in the comments as well if you're viewing this on Friday. So just so you know, there is an advantage to still seeing it on Friday. But in the meantime, I'm here actually live on Tuesday because we're doing a very special joint live interview show and Twitter chat. And I'm very excited about our guest today, Amanda Goetz. She started House of Wise Luxury CBD for Women. She also founded a company called Teal. She's done a bunch of stuff. She's going to talk about it in just a moment. But in the meantime, I just want to let you know that if you are here just for the Twitter chat, you can still do it. I'm going to be putting up the Twitter chat questions and asking Amanda our Twitter chat questions at the exact same time. So it is one big happy discussion of entrusting others with your brand, as Amanda has done with House of Wise. In fact, speaking of House of Wise, you all get a promotional discount code. I believe it's United States only. I'm going to check with Amanda on that. But if you put in the code WISEWOMEN, you will get $20 off of your luxury CBD. She's got oils, she's got gummies. It is fabulous. So without any further ado, I am going to bring Ms. Amanda on. Yay, Amanda! Woo! Thank you so much for being here.
Thanks for having me.
First of all, I meant to check with you about how to pronounce your last name, and I forgot to. How do you pronounce it?
Goetz.
Goetz. Okay, yeah. So I totally pronounced it wrong. Sorry about that.
It's all good.
All right, so tell the folks at home who may not know just a little bit about your story, because House of Wise is definitely not the first company that you have started.
No, so from the Midwest, small town, 800 people, first generation college grad. So fun fact, neither of my parents have ever been on an airplane. And I'm a single mom to 3 kids that are running around, and I'm praying don't come into here, but I can't promise that. They're 7, 5, and 3, and our nanny is sick today. So I started my career at Ernst & Young doing the professional services thing, then decided to really get my hands on brand marketing, where I went to a celebrity wedding planner and managed his brand across all of his licensing deals. He had a reality TV show, book deals, etc. Did that for a few years, then launched my first startup, which was a tech startup in the wedding industry. Did the accelerator circuit, learned a ton. That was kind of my MBA-like equivalent. And that led me to The Knot, where I led brand and product marketing there for the last 5.5 years. Then started House of Wise in the middle of the pandemic when I realized that women needed help. And so House of Wise is a luxury CBD company that helps women take control of their sleep, sex, stress, and wealth. We can talk more about that. And then I am the part-time CMO at Teal. I definitely did not found that company. I don't want to take that credit. Dave Fano is the incredible founder over there, and I am their interim CMO, kind of an untraditional founder journey. But they are helping people manage their careers. And actually, I'm leading a marketing masterclass on all things careers and marketing right after this.
My goodness, all of this with 3 children, plus you've moved around a little bit this year physically. It's you need that CBD, girl, I'm sure.
I'm my most frequent customer.
What brought you into CBD of all things? That's just such a fascinating thing to just do, because your background seems like it was related to tech, and this is a pretty big departure from that.
Yeah, it's very personal. So I had never touched cannabis in my life. I'm a former athlete. I was an ACE certified personal trainer and group fitness instructor. And I found myself kind of at the height of my career, like I'm leading a big team for a massive brand. And I was navigating a divorce with 3 kids under the age of 4 at the time. So
A little bit of stress, a little bit.
Just a little bit. And I was turning to, like, my nighttime routine had become get the kids to bed, grab the glass of wine. And I realized that it was affecting my sleep horribly. And so I started to research alcohol and the effects on anxiety, and I went to a gut microbiome doctor to understand the head gut connection, because I was dealing with a lot of anxiety, a lot of situational depression, and realized that cannabis actually could help me. And so I started to research what was out there, and I realized that there weren't a ton of brands that spoke to me, someone who was not trying to be a stoner, or, I'm a high functioning person, I need to be on. And then I started trying different CBD companies, and some were placebo effect. Some were, made my eyes bloodshot. Some made me so groggy that I couldn't be on for an interview. And I realized that I needed to create a brand that women like me could trust. And then there's a community aspect to it, where I want women to feel empowered to talk about things that are normally kind of taboo topics, like, hey, I'm not sleeping well. Hey, I'm not having sex. Hey, I'm really stressed out. This whole guise of we're supposed to have it all and then not complain about anything is, ridiculous. And so I want to shed light on some of these topics and allow women to feel comfortable saying, hey, I need a little bit of help, and help can come in all these different forms.
And you had this planned out before the pandemic. And so then it actually came time to launch. And I mean, do you think that was a good thing because more women were like, yes, I'm freaking stressed out and I'm owning it? Or did it create more challenges than opportunities in a sense?
Well, so House of Wise was in the back of my head, and I was researching cannabis. I was researching hemp, farms and co-packers and chemists, because all of my formulas are original formulas. It's not just straight CBD. And I didn't know when I was going to launch. And then all of a sudden, COVID hit. I'm leading marketing for a wedding brand, which over 200,000 couples had to cancel their weddings in less than 48 hours. So we were pulling all-nighters at the Knot, trying to make sure that every couple had the resources and the support that they needed. It was crazy. And so I was heads down on the Knot for the start of COVID, and then really started to see some of my mom friends and just women in general just struggling throughout COVID and drinking more than they probably had normally and relying on that, and then not sleeping well and dealing with a lot of anxiety. And so I was like, I need to push this forward. And so I raised my pre-seed in June and July, and then went all in on August, and we launched December 1st of last year.
My goodness, that is fast for a startup, right? I mean, that seems incredibly fast, and fantastic. And one thing that we're going to talk about today is that you made the choice not to go through a store, and I think people can buy directly through the website, but you're mostly relying on your network of wise women. And I think that one thing that I want to mention, I know we have to move to question one in just a minute, but I love how the name House of Wise happened. So I think that seems like a good lead in. So can you tell us about the name House of Wise?
Yeah. So right as COVID was starting, I had a work trip to India, and I was there for I think 3 or 4 days. It was the fastest trip. I think I was in the air longer than I was on the ground there. But while I was in India, I got up one morning at 2 a.m., went to the Taj Mahal, came back, and was trying to meditate and really think about House of Wise. And I knew it needed to feel connected in a larger way. And I found the story of Brownie Wise, who, for those of you that don't know, Brownie Wise created the Tupperware party. So Earl Tupper created the kitchen storage, the actual physical storage unit. But Brownie, created this movement of empowering women to come together. And she really saw that women are influencers. In their own right, women can influence their friends, their family, their networks. And she empowered women to make money after the war, created this whole movement, made Tupperware, put it on the map. And then Earl Tupper, when Brownie asked for a raise and to be, have a seat at the table, he ended up firing her because the company was already big and he didn't really need her anymore. And then he sold the company just a few months later for millions of dollars, and Brownie got nothing.
Oh.
And so I studied MLMs for a long time to understand what makes some of them predatory, what mechanics like draw women in.
Yeah.
And I realized that we need to build something that empowers women, but also doesn't take advantage of them.
Yeah.
And I think that women get taken advantage a lot in instances because we can handle a lot and we can do a lot and we have a lot of influence. And so I built this affiliate network in light of Brownie.
That is beautiful. I love that so much. And that leads us to our first question, which is, what is a brand affiliate? How do you kind of identify that in your head? And especially, how does it work with House of Wise?
Yeah, so an affiliate makes a commission on anything that's sold through their link or through their code. And it's different than just like a brand ambassador, because a brand ambassador may like share your story, share your post on Instagram, maybe they'll wear your swag. An affiliate is actually using your product and promoting it with the intent to drive sales. And I love that we can see when people say something. That's adorable.
I'm always worried it'll be distracting, but
no,
you got this. You know how to multitask.
No, I love it, but I was like, ooh, surprising. So affiliates make a high percentage with House of Wise, and we call them our wise women, like you already said. They come in, we go through an onboarding experience. They get access to a Slack channel. And truthfully, to me, an affiliate is like the most important piece of your community, because they're talking about your products to their audiences, to their friends, to their family. So it's so important that you have a great relationship with them and that they feel inspired and also rewarded as they go along the way. So that's how I define a brand affiliate.
And I'm curious, I mean, this will play into question 2 a little bit, but in your case, I'm wondering how you came up with, and you touched on it, you started touching on it, which is how you came up with how brand affiliates work in your company specifically. Because to your point, you looked into the ways that MLMs are predatory. Let's talk about the ways in which yours is not, because you've structured it to make sure that women are really not getting a raw deal here.
Yeah, so MLM stands for multi-level marketing, meaning there's multiple levels, and that's why it gets the name pyramid scheme. So in an MLM, usually there is someone at the top that everybody aspires to be like, because they're the ones who have, the car or making, a lot of money, and they have recruited people under them to be a part of their team. Now, the way it works is the people at the bottom get very small percentages until they recruit more people under them. And then as you move towards the top, they're getting fractions of the percentages of all the people underneath of them. And so why is that predatory? Well, the people at the bottom have a lot of work to do to move towards the top. And then the people at the top are just benefiting off of all of that. So we basically have a flat affiliate structure where everyone makes the same percentage and everyone is getting the same information. And then there's no recruiting and there's no upfront costs. And so that upfront cost thing is really important, because a lot of MLMs have monthly order minimums where every month you have to place an order of product, and then it's in your house.
And the way they sell that to you as not being predatory is they're like, well, you could just, be ordering it with the employee discount for your own use, but it's crazy quantities oftentimes.
It's crazy. You're not using that many bath bombs, literally. And so what we do is we allow our affiliates to use their affiliate link to purchase the product. So one, they get familiar with the whole system. Then they get the percentage off. They see how they get the cash back. And then they only promote what they love.
Yeah.
And say the sleep gummy is the thing that they are obsessed with, or the sleep drops. We have lots of people that have been ordering a ton of sleep drops lately. And
wonder why.
Yeah. Couldn't be, because we're not sleeping at all. I swear the garbage truck goes by every time I do a live thing.
I can't hear it. It's all good.
And yeah, so they promote what they love, and they don't have to worry about selling something that's just like sitting in their bedroom floor. And that makes it more authentic to the end viewer, the
Yeah.
person watching their content, because it's like they make money when they make a sale, but
Yeah.
they're only promoting the thing that they love, and that's the key.
And that brings us really nicely to the second question, which is why deputize others to represent your brand? Why did you decide to have your wise women as opposed to just having people straight up go to houseofwise.com, or even to have you, because you are the face of House of Wise in a lot of ways, but at the same time, you're making it very clear that it's about a community. So why go that route rather than fully owning all of your channels and all of your brand messaging and all of that?
I think with cannabis specifically and a lot of these topics, you want to hear it from someone you trust and someone you normally ask for advice and feedback. And what was happening when I started using CBD, people would come to me and be like, "Hey, what are you using? How are you using it?" And once someone that they trusted told them, they'd be like, "Okay, I'm going to go try that." And so I realized that the power in those relationships is so important. And then to piggyback off of that, to have a community that you already know stands for all of these things, this mission of empowering women, and to be able to tap into that community whenever you need it, meaning maybe you're going through a breakup or considering a divorce, or maybe you just need help with your sex life, or maybe you're dealing with parenting stress and you don't know where to go. And I feel like we've siloed all of those roles into fragmented communities, and I wanted to bring it all under one umbrella where it's like, I'm a multidimensional person. Like if we were to have dinner, you'd hear about my parenting life, my dating life, my work life, all of it, because that's how we speak. And I didn't want to fragment those things, and I wanted to bring it all together into a community that women could tap into. And so it is, yes, we are a CBD company, but we're so much larger than that. We're on a mission to help empower and support women and give them the tools and the people and the resources that they need to navigate all that life throws at us every single day.
So to that end, so you, of course, House of Wise is still a brand with its own identity and all of that. So how do you make sure that, well, first of all, how do you choose people to bring on board? I don't think this is one of our questions. I need to just make sure that I'm not like jumping the gun here. But how do you make sure that that brand? Well, first, yeah, how do you make sure that you're bringing on the people who you can trust with that?
So with creators and people in general, they're all going to have their own flair. And that's what I love about creators and people on social media, because they're building communities in their own right, whether it's a community of 50 people to, 50,000. You have to be true to who you are. And that's number one. And any brand that's trying to give somebody a, verbatim talking point, it's never going to work. It's going to,
you don't have a fembot army. The individualism is part of what you're bringing in.
Exactly. And I love it because with the 3 different product lines, it allows different people to highlight the things that they want to highlight in their routines and life in general. And we allow really anyone, as long as, they're not doing anything, crazy wrong, or outwardly just like against our core values as a company. But it's more about like, do they love the product? Do they want to, make money by promoting it? And then we do take them through an onboarding experience. They do one-on-one calls with our team. They have access to me. And then we have the Slack channel where we're constantly giving them resources, ideas, inspiration. The great thing about being a marketer and then leading this company is marketing is in everything that we do. Like literally knowing marketing skills is a key thing in life. You need to think about like how to position something to whoever you're talking to, how to, make a great Instagram story that will get people excited. Like all those things are wonderful life skills that I'm excited that we kind of embed into the Wise Women community, because we have just like a brilliant team of marketers building this thing. And so we're just constantly giving all those little nuggets to the wise women. And I'm excited. We have a ton of marketing people as part of that community too.
That is huge. And it's so important for people to feel supported and empowered, because I've often described, the bad MLM relationships as, everyone says, oh, I'm building my own business. I'm a boss babe. And it's like, you're not building your own business so much as you're an employee without support. And it seems like you really just have it down of making sure that you're supporting your wise women. To that end, how can you ensure others are going to represent your brand properly? It sounds like a lot of that is just kind of making sure that they're on board with the mission, but what type of not only training about making sure they know what they're talking about with the products, but what kind of training do you have in terms of making sure that they're representing brand voice, especially since this is a new brand to the market?
It's a new brand to the market, and it's also a new industry, and it's one that's highly regulated. So we have lots of things, and shout out to Ingrid if she's listening. She has developed a lot of our programming for our wise women and is incredible. Ingrid created like a full onboarding track of, one, just talking points around why this isn't an MLM, but two, really understanding cannabis, because there's still, even though the Farm Bill was passed multiple years ago, CBD exploded and it was like in everything, like to the point where you were like, why is there CBD in my pillowcase? Like, what does that even mean? And it was just very confusing. And so
is that a thing?
I mean, like hemp.
That's a good point.
Just call it CBD, but it wasn't real. It wasn't really CBD.
And I'm sure you have to differentiate for people all the time, the difference between CBD and THC and things like that. Because people hear CBD and they think pot.
100%. And there is THC in full spectrum CBD because we use all the parts of the plant, and you can have up to 0.3% to be federally legal. And so there's tons of questions you get on, is this safe? Will I be stoned? Like I get questions from moms all the time being like, should I be sitting down when I take it? Should I have my kids in bed? And I was like, I will pop a gummy right now and you can continue talking to me for the next 3 hours and you will see that I'm fully functioning. It just takes off the physiological effects of stress. Like we all know what stress feels like. Like your chest is tighter, you are breathing more shallow, your body feels tense. Allowing those effects to come off, and then your head is clear so you can make decisions out of ration and logic versus emotion is what CBD is all about.
So in terms of how they're representing the brand itself, so that's the product education. What do you kind of teach them in terms of sort of the party line? And, do you give them any sort of beginner script they can tweak? Are there any rules around the way that they're allowed to sell? To what degree do you really communicate those guidelines, especially for brands, especially for something that is new?
Yeah, so we do have the do's and don'ts of like, you can say this, you can't say this. The FDA has very clear regulations on, you can't say it treats insomnia. You can say it promotes healthy rest. You can, fall asleep faster. But you can't ever say it like treats, diagnoses, cures, anything. And a lot of CBD companies are out there being like, this cures X, Y, and Z. And so that's the high level. But when it comes to the brand itself is about empowering women to live life on their own terms and be unapologetic about whatever path they choose in life and whatever they want to talk about. And so that's the beauty in the brand itself, is that people should be their individual selves and talk about their routines and rituals and how they're using CBD in whatever way is authentic to their life and their story. And that to me is the best part about this brand. We're not trying to put women into a box. We're trying to allow them to be free of those boxes and the double standards and the stigmas and, lean into that. So I love that we have such a diverse group of wise women, spanning all the things where it's like, people are just talking about sleep and stress over here. And then some people are like, no, I want to talk publicly about why women need help with their sexual health and wellness. And we have all of that. And so that's the beauty of this house, I guess.
And it feels like, to your point, you're sort of attracting the right people from the get-go by just, when in the company communications, it sounds like you're really pushing, what the brand stands for, so that the right people will sort of self-identify. Is that accurate? Like, how are you handling brand communications versus, welcoming all the unique voices of your wise women?
We have a very strong brand voice about empowerment, and a lot of that has come from my fingerprint is kind of all over this brand, and then finding people who just share this mission to help cultivate. We have Maria, who has developed a lot of our content and emails, and she's taken the brand voice to the next level. And then Jess, who's running our social. So we have people who all understand the mission first, and then are kind of, we're a brand voice is something that takes time to evolve and really hone. And same with just like visual identity and brand in general. It's an iterative, ever changing thing, but knowing the North Star and the key pillars and having a brand pyramid to say, what's the core sentiment of this brand and how does that come through in everything? But then allowing, like, I believe in channel autonomy, allowing each of your channels to figure out how to bring that to life in the channel in the best way possible. That's going to, one, resonate, and two, perform. I think brands really struggle with, you must be this type of way across every channel. And then they're like, why is engagement low on, Twitter, or why is engagement low on TikTok? And it's like, because you're putting me into this like pigeonholed lane of, I can only talk in these kinds of ways. And that's not how people talk on this platform. So,
I love that. And that goes back to kind of that trust factor. And as long as you've got that North Star, you can kind of spin out from there and not just be like a robot, either as people, but also as the brand itself. Now, there are, of course, kind of three relationships in the brand. There's the brand to the wise women. There's the wise women to their customers. There's the brand to their customers. So since there's all these moving parts, how do you ensure that relationship works really well for all parties, making sure that the brand is serving the representative is serving the brand, and everybody is ultimately serving the clients?
A lot of feedback loops. Like today we send out another survey to our wise women. That was our first feedback loop in this month. But we have the Slack channel that really we get feedback on a daily basis, being like, hey, can we have a new, template for Instagram, or hey, I just got this FAQ. Can we add this to this? And we have an FAQ channel. We have a selling points channel. So we allow constant access. And then to top it all off, every wise woman has my cell phone number. And so if they want to text me, they can. And my DMs are always open.
That's brave.
Yeah.
How many wise women do you have so far? Again, this is a new company. It just launched in December, but
yeah. So we're 3 months old now. We're at over 300 and growing. So we just opened our house again. We kept it kind of closed to our founder's house just to get things figured out. And then we just reopened our house this past week to allow 50 more wise women in. So if you're listening and you're interested in wanting to learn more, then hit us up.
That's amazing. But the fact that they all have such a direct pathway of communication to you right now. So that must feel incredible. But how are you going to be able to kind of maintain that as it grows?
I think it's important to do things that don't scale at the beginning of a company, like hard stop. You have to be in the weeds, like, of every part of the business. And that's why being a founder is really, really tough. And right now I'm focused on staying connected to our early adopter wise women to say what's working, what's not, because we're not going to be able to build a scalable program until I'm really in the weeds. Like if I were to just create this program and then walk away, I won't be able to scale nearly as fast as I will when I'm like talking to them on a daily basis and saying, oh, okay, they need more touch points around this. They need more, swag. Is swag working? Should we have another, incentive, whatever? But it's not scalable, but I'm okay with that until it gets to the point where I feel confident in scaling beyond myself.
And it sounds like a lot of the feedback you're getting from a consumer level, making sure the House of Wise is serving its ultimate consumers, is coming from those wise women. Is that accurate, or are you also getting direct consumer feedback? Like, how is it sort of shaking out there?
All of the above. So people join our newsletter. We have a weekly newsletter that talks about like behind the scenes of building the company, what's going on in the CBD world, guest posts from people around sleep experts, sex experts, etc. And I get a lot of responses to that newsletter. And that's just anyone that's ever tried the product. And then we also do calls for testimonials from just all consumers. And yeah, and then social listening is huge. Not everyone wants to be a wise woman, and that's okay. But I want every woman to be in control of their sleep, sex, and stress. So ideally, every woman's a consumer. And so doing social listening to understand when someone's struggling with their sleep or sex, or dealing with a stressful situation, we try to to the best of our ability with a small and mighty team, try to chime in there and be there for them.
So now I feel like I understand how you are serving your representatives with constant feedback and with just your openness to direct communication. You're serving your ultimate end customers by making sure that you provide education to them and that they also feel like they have a channel to you. Do you have visibility as to making sure that the consumers feel properly served by the representatives? Like, is there any sort of, I mean, it's very new, so I don't know if you've had that sort of feedback yet, but I'm just wondering if that ever, how you kind of manage that.
At the end of the day, the most important thing is, does the product deliver on the promise that you are promising? And are those wise women selling the right promises? And the beauty about House of Wise is we are function first. Like that's why they're called sleep, sex, stress. You know what the outcome is that you're seeking when you take that. And so for me, to answer your question in a very high level, like we have not developed any programming around like getting feedback from consumers on their wise women. But to me, the product is the core component in all of this. And if you're sold a product from a wise woman and it doesn't deliver on the promise, that is on me because it's my product. Mm-hmm. And I'm training the wise woman. So I take responsibility in that situation of if it's not delivering, but we have not had any complaints so far.
All right. Well, that makes sense. You're taking responsibility for all of that relationship, which, that's a strong brand right there. Now we've all heard, to that end, what I'm sure that you've had to make sure to take into account from the get-go things that can sour an affiliate relationship, either between the company and the affiliate, or again, the affiliate and the end user. So what are some of those, potential pitfalls that you've had to keep in mind and prepare for in advance when setting up this type of structure?
The biggest thing is truly making sure people understand the FDA landscape of talking about CBD. That is first and foremost on my list, making sure that we're not saying promises that are not true or accurate and is not something that will get flagged by the FDA, because obviously that is detrimental. So that's the biggest one in terms of souring an affiliate relationship for House of Wise. And then the second thing is just being a good human and living by the true morals and values of what we stand for as a company. So all things inclusivity and making sure that you're aligned with that. And luckily we have not had to deal with any of that so far.
That's so important because and also even in the way that you sell the products, I feel like that also has been such a key thing. Because to your point, you researched MLMs, you saw the ways that the structure doesn't work ideally for people. In terms of, okay, so it sounds like the way that an affiliate could sour their relationship with you would be through, legal trouble. What are some ways that you really make sure that your affiliates feel taken care of and don't feel taken advantage of and feel like they are really on board?
Well, at the end of the day, what we're hearing is women are looking for community, discretionary income, and education. Those are kind of the top 3 tracks. And so as long as we continue to deliver on those connections, like to me, you've built a community when you can remove yourself and then they're talking to each other. To me, that is a true community that you've built. You don't have to put in the prompts. You don't have to, be the one answering every question, where like in our Slack community, someone will post a question and then like 3 wise women will jump in and answer the question, be like, well, this is what I did, or look at this TikTok that I found, or, they're jumping in. So that's 1. And then 2, giving them the support on education and what to do with this discretionary income that they're making. So we've been doing education tracks on like investment strategy and Bitcoin, and making sure that women are, because women get left behind in all of these things. And for me, as a first generation college grad, I didn't have someone telling me what to do with money, you know? And a lot of these MLMs talk to women that in a way that's just like, we are intellectual creatures. Don't tell me to just go use my money for, Target and Starbucks, which, don't get me wrong, I would gladly do it any day of the week.
No, but you hear that a lot.
You do. And so like, I wanted to take a very intentional, that's why our mission is to take control of your sleep, sex, stress, and wealth. Because say you only make $100 of House of Wise last month, great. $100. Let's talk about opening a Coinbase account. What does it mean to open a Coinbase account and buy Bitcoin? Like, what does that even mean?
Yeah.
And so we did a Bitcoin 101 session. Next week we're doing why a woman's relationship with money is different than a man's. And so we have a psychologist coming in to talk through what are the cultural and generational things, societal standards and structures that make us think about money in the way that we do. And like most of the things that are subconscious to us are leading us if they're not conscious. And so I want to, House of Wise is around like elevating all of this and creating a community where it's safe to be like, I don't know what the heck Bitcoin is. Can someone explain it to me? Yes, totally. Like, let's talk about it. So that it takes it to another level. But I think to answer your question about like, what are we doing to support the wise women? We're treating them in a way that most MLMs are not, and that we want them to just continue to grow as humans and feel in the driver's seat of their life.
Wow. And you're giving them wisdom also.
Yeah.
I just love that even though it's named after Brownie Wise, like it just works on so many levels. I'm sure once you hit on that name, you were like, yes.
It did unlock. I was like in India and I was like,
all comes together. Yeah, you were just like attuned. So I'm going to give you our last question for you here today. I just want to let everyone know that we are going to do the usual question 7 in a little bit where you can ask Amanda your questions, but she does have another commitment, so she's going to come back and answer them kind of in the chat later. But last question while you are here with us, which is, what are some great synergistic brand relationships? Because sometimes like when it works, and you sort of can't mentally separate the person and the brand they're working with, even though it's not theirs. Does that make sense as a question?
So synergistic brand relationships, like brand partnerships?
Yeah, or just like someone where when you think of them and you think of this brand, you think of each other, even though it's not necessarily like they don't necessarily own the brand.
I mean,
I mean, there's like
macro
celebrity
celebrity.
spokespeople sometimes, there's like influencers, sometimes it's an actual like in-house brand evangelist. It's kind of a tricky one. Although they might own the
That's
brand. I don't know.
that's a good question. So, I mean, gosh, I feel like Chipotle does this really well with their like celebrity burritos because didn't they do like a David Dobrik burrito? And now whenever I see David Dobrik, I'm like, I kind of need Chipotle, but like,
That's what they're trying to do. It's so smart.
um,
And I mean, it can be owners because I mean, the main thing that I think of is I'm thinking of like Ryan Reynolds, who owns his brands. But the fact is, when you think Aviation Gin, when you think Mint Mobile, you think Ryan Reynolds, even though they are his. It's so that's not quite it, but
yeah, so that's a tricky thing, and that's where endorsements and investors become a very. It'll be interesting how the FTC and other regulations come into play on how much advertising can come from an investor because in putting someone on your cap table with large influence is a strong move, and having ownership because they'll help with distribution. So I think that definitely is what we're seeing a lot of. But like, I don't know why, but Jennifer Aniston Smartwater just popped into my head
yeah, she's
because
with Smartwater and she's also with Vital Proteins now.
yep, yeah. So I think I don't know why, but I feel like fragrances do this really, really well. Where
Yeah.
it's like Natalie Portman pops into my mind for some perfume. Who I can't remember what because I don't wear perfume, but and then Kardashians. I mean, you cannot, but obviously they are the face owner of the brands.
No, but they represent other brands sometimes too.
Yeah, those are the ones I think about.
Yeah, it's interesting, and I think that you're right that the whole landscape around it is changing now with social media and with people who like we feel like we know, but what's the financial relationship there? It's kind of a tricky one.
Yeah, it
Yeah.
really is. And granted, like people come into an investment opportunity because usually they love the product, they love the brand, they believe in the mission. So I am for this. I think that this is an important future of influencer marketing where influencers learn that there's more to the pay to play landscape and they can get behind and actually build some really big brands. And so that is something that is always top of mind to me.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for being here today, Amanda. Chat people, I want you to stick around because I am going to ask you to ask your own questions for Amanda, but I do want to respect your schedule here. So while we are kind of wrapping this up, please let people know where they can find you, where they should find you, and how they can get a hold of some House of Wise.
So find me on Twitter, Instagram, go to houseofwise.co. But if you want to buy from a wise woman, check out our Instagram. And yeah, would love any and all support.
Fantastic. And a reminder to all of our viewers, oh, it still says 20% off there. Whoops. It is $20 off for, whoops. Okay, I had something up here, but anyway, code Wise Women for $20. I'm going to change that. Wise Women at houseofwise.com to get your $20 off CBD oil and gummies to help your sleep, sex, and stress. Thank you so much, Amanda, for being on. Your rock star.
Thanks, Christine. I appreciate you.
And I want to remind everybody that if you're watching on Friday, definitely let us know. But this was recorded live on Tuesday. But again, if you're here Friday, you've been seeing me chit-chatting in the comments, so I'm right here. But normally, we're going back to our normal schedule next week. So next Tuesday, March 23rd, we are going to talk about luxury branding. I feel like a lot of our conversations lately on Let's Talk About Brand and on Chat About Brand have been specifically about making brands kind of more human, getting that human feel in there. But some brands, you actively want it to not feel like someone's everyday. Some brands, you really want it to be that sort of aspirational pie in the sky, like not like your normal life. So we're going to talk about luxury branding and how luxury branding can still make a human connection without that whole just like you feel to it. And we're going to be talking about that live next Friday with my friend from college, actually, Nicholas Koblantz, because he has been working in luxury branding for years. And so he's going to talk about some of the considerations that luxury brands have when putting their brand messages out there and managing their communities, because there is a different level. You want to make sure that you stay aspirational, but are also putting something out there that will resonate. So again, we're back to normal schedule next week, which is Chat About Brand on Twitter on Tuesday. Let's Talk About Brand live on Twitter, Periscope, and Facebook on Friday. If you are watching the replay of this week's show on Friday, hey guys, we'll be back live at you next week. Thanks so much for joining. Bye-bye.